We back again. Interlude.
Sir.
Gang, gang, bang. We are back. It is another Friday. It is another album review. We told y'all every Friday we gonna review an album from y'all, just giving y'all more content and really just even more deep dives, man. I mean, these albums are really good and we feel a way about them, so we're trying to talk about them. We're gonna try to mix it up with as much like go back and forth between like hip hop and R&B. We don't want to stay in we don't want to stay in one genre too much because we do both listen to a vast amount of music. So we're gonna cover an R&B album this week, and the artist and the album is going to be
Kehlani. Kehlani.
It was good until it wasn't. This project dropped beginning of May, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, beginning of May.
Dropped beginning of May. So it's been out for a while now. But I definitely have had a lot of time to listen to it. And I guess what I'll say before we get into it, for the most part, is that this is probably a Kehlani project that I've went back and listened to the most. But it's also been a project that I've just in general from the year that I went back and revisited a lot. Even though it hasn't been out as long as some other project, it's still kind of one of those for me. It is. We'll get into skip stuff later. But yeah, really, it wasn't, and before we get into the album, it's not really much to talk about. I mean, everybody, is pretty aware of who, Kehlani is, but did you have any expectations when she announced? Did you have any kind of like, this is what I kind of expect, I feel like this is the pocket she gonna be in, I feel like this is what I need to see from her, or you just kind of like, it's a Kehlani album, we'll see what happens,
I think I went about it with this Kehlani album. Just really want to see what happened. Cause honestly, from the last EP that she dropped, While We Wait, you call it EP album, whatever you want to call it. I really like that album. It had definitely had a lot of burners on there. So I kind of felt that from that EP to everything that just had happened in her life, that this album was kind of going to be like that. It was going to be solid for sure. But did I expect it to be a no skip? I did not. That was a surprise. So that definitely hit. So, yeah.
Well, you see how we feel. So we'll just get into the the album, get into the track list. So she starts the song with Toxic. And Toxic is one of those, like when I was listening to it for the first time, Toxic is one of those songs that it doesn't necessarily stand out per se, but it's still slide. Like Toxic ain't something that's not gonna be the first song I'll run back and listen to if I was just choosing a song from the album. But I mean, it fits, like if you definitely if you're following the album and following the theme, it fits, and it's a great start to the album. You caught the background vocals, didn't you? Yeah, and why is he never credited on albums when he's on background vocals? Like not
like it like that though.
Credit, but more so like as a feature. I always wonder why he doesn't, if that's his choice or if how that works, because
I feel like that's his choice. That's just like some artists that that like when they're on the track, they don't really want to give like a feature. Like they don't want it to be like featuring this artist. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those surprise things. Like what's the artist that did that? Like even for instance, Kendrick on the Dreamville tape. It was just
that's completely different. That's completely different though. Kendrick on the Dreamville tape had 2 lines.
For me, it leaves like a special effect. Like you gotta catch the ear. It's just like if you hear Masego's saxophone. If his name's not on there. No, but I'm saying like for example on Revenge of the Dreamers, he wasn't featured on any names on any of the actual tracks, but his sax came up and it was like, damn, like Masego was on the track.
Where? Huh? His sax came up where?
I had to go back to the actual song, but he was definitely on the track, and he even said that he was on the track. He just played the sax. That was all it was. He got a gold plaque off of it. It was fuck. I go to it.
Okay. Well, it depends on the song, because if we talking about 30 seconds of a sax verse his background vocals being in the entirety of the song. That's different.
Where it go? Yeah.
What's the same way? Like he wasn't. I won't say he wasn't credited. He wasn't technically featured on Three Way. There's a couple songs like that where he's not technically featured on.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, either way, he does add a vibe to the project for sure. Not project, well, that song for sure. I do think it's a good opening track. Yeah, I think it's a good opening track. Then goes into Can I Next with Tory Lanez. How'd you feel about the Tory feature?
I like it. For me, it wasn't anything where like Tory voice was annoying or it was just like his feature wasn't needed. I think they flowed like it was a very nice collaboration. It was like it just flowed smoothly for me.
Yeah, I think I really it was taking me so long to figure out the sample because I was really like, bro, what is this sample? Like I can't because it's a couple samples. And I was trying to figure out because the beginning is because I think like vocally and lyrically it's somewhat sampled Come Over by Aaliyah, if I'm not mistaken. I definitely got to fact check it. I think it does. But I think also musically, the beginning sounds very reminiscent of Bed by Jacquees, but more importantly, it would be Read Your Mind by Avant. But I don't know if that's just a similarity or if that's an actual musical sample or not. So, but anyway, that was like the first thing I noticed when I heard the song. But I like Tory's feature. Yeah, I feel like he did what he had to do on the track and held his own. I don't think it was he didn't not show up. He didn't like make the song a dud by any means. So
I'm about to dud.
He didn't make the song a dud, and not that he doesn't. I won't say he doesn't necessarily do that. I mean, I don't think he's a bad feature artist, but it was just good to see it show up because sometimes you get features and that can affect the flow of a project if they don't deliver or if they bring the wrong vibe, whatever the case may be. But then you get into Bad News. Again, it's like the album is so seamless. So even when you're looking at these songs separately, it's kind of hard to not acknowledge what they follow and then what follows them because it all just kind of goes hand in hand. Which is what makes it, to me, it's such an easy album to listen to because it's like there's no breaks, there's no huge redirection of the sound or not the theme either, but the sound for real. There's no real redirection. So it's just you feel like you're kind of listening to almost this mix, if you will, in a way.
Tone wise, the tape was very beautiful how she constructed it. Each track, like I really thought that it was gonna be like, all right, this song mellow and this song kind of hype. And then let's go back to like it really flowed all the way through like an actual R&B album. Like it wasn't like like to me, I know me and you talk about a lot where a lot of albums they kind of go off veer and try to switch up to not sound like the same. But for an album, each track really was like this is a track of its own. It doesn't sound like the last track, but it's her track. You know what I'm saying? Like the voice is steady, the beat, everything like is really steady, and you can just like sit back and vibe to it, and just like you don't get a headache from it. You don't. I gotta switch this shit. Like it really flows, bro. Like that shit is really beautiful. So
yeah. So bad news doesn't miss either. How you feel about Real Hot Girl Skit?
Real Hot Girl Skit was I like that. I really like that because I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that at all. Because honestly, when I played the tape, I'm not gonna fake it to you. Like I wasn't looking like I wasn't every song. I wasn't picking up my phone and just look at the track listing. I just pressed play and just let it slide all the way through. So when Meg came up with the skit, I was just like, oh shit! Like I just sat back and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I forgot Meg the girl. Yeah. Yeah, so no, I think but it was a great skit, and I like the fact that a lot of people are incorporating skits into their albums, I think it just gives it personality, but it also skits and interludes are a really good way to segue if you do want to change the tone of an album, or if you just want to give kind of like an interesting little prelude, if you will, to a song that's coming up. Because I mean, then Real Hot Girl skit goes into Water, which doesn't necessarily, there's not a huge correlation, but Water is probably one of my favorite songs on the album, just because it's like,
because it's short and it kind of what makes it your favorite.
I mean, maybe it's just a smooth ass song. Like, I don't know. It was one of the songs that through the first listen, like it stood out. Like I was like, oh, it's Cold Water. Okay, definitely had to add it to a playlist. It was one of the things for me. It was like, okay, like it just stood out like sonically to me. So it might be because it's short, and just, I mean, she also talking her shit in a lot of these songs on the album as well. And I kind of feel like that's one of them. So that's why it's one that stands out for me. But did you feel any way about it? Did you have the same reaction to it, or was it just one of those songs?
I'm saying I like. To me, Water was really one of them songs where she didn't try to do too many verses. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of R&B, like a lot of R&B artists today, they kind of find it where, all right, I'm gonna record this chorus and then I gotta give this verse and me singing, and the chorus come back in and I gotta give another verse. Like everything was just ran through. Like this is how she feel, and to me, that's true. That's true R&B. That's true soul. That's like really how it used to be. Like when you was to go listen to R&B and soul music, like all it was that artist singing the entire same lyrics, the entire song, but that shit just hit. Like everything about it just hit. Melodies, all that shit. So Water was cool. It's not like I wouldn't say it's in my top 3, but I definitely rock with it.
I had to get back to you on this or not. I don't think so initially, but yeah. Actually, yeah, it's probably not. But it's top 5, not top 3 though. Okay, yeah. How you feel about the Janae feature? It Changed Your Life. That's the next track.
I fucked with it. I love Janae, and I just fuck with them doing their thing on it, bro. Like when Change Your Life came in, like this was my shit for the album, where it was just like everything after it. To me, I ain't gonna say pick up because I don't want people to get misconstrued by the words, and I don't think the album was like dead, but this is where she kind of really got into the grit of like touching on topics of how people feel about her or opinions outside of what she should care about and shit like that. And like that to me, I fucked with it.
Yeah, I definitely feel you. I wouldn't say it was like it's picked. I mean, I agree that it picked up, but not from the standpoint of. I think she just put her foot on the gas. Honestly, I think she was cruising through the first part of the project, and as you hit Change Your Life, it's like she just started to put her foot on the gas, because then after that, it's just like she ain't let the fuck up.
She ain't letting up, bro.
Because
she ain't letting up.
It became banger at that point. Because then you got the Belong to the Street skit, which is funny as hell. Which is funny as hell.
Favorite skit, bro.
I love it though because those are genuine conversations that people have, and those are genuine like opinions that people usually like when it comes to like hearing about what Shorty might be doing or whatever, hearing about what Nick might be doing. Like that's always how the conversations usually go, and it's common that a lot of people feel like, well, if they don't want their business out there, like either why they're doing it or why they letting it be known, and it's just like, I mean. Like that's getting in touchy waters, but it's like it's that duality of just because somebody wants to like, just because somebody like is open about whatever they're doing or whatever they're involved in, don't mean it's your business to pry or make it public or to even state your opinion on it. You know what I'm saying? So it was very funny because like that's a typical conversation that the two niggas would have anyway. You know what I'm saying? So. That was funny as hell. But then to lead into, everybody business and of course, play into all that, like again, just a seamless transition and something that makes it very easy to just let the album ride out. The other takes on the song for me, like it's a really good song, of course. Not one, again, kind of similar to Toxic, not one of the standouts to me per se, but a good song that fits where it's at in the album.
I like going to the skits and everybody business. Just like you said, the flow was just smooth. And then when it went from everybody's business to the next track with Masego, Hate the Club. To me, it was just like everything was just, I wouldn't want to say everything was strategic in a sense, because Hate the Club, to me, Hate the Club is really my favorite track from the album.
Yeah, I say the same. I'm biased. I feel like I'm biased because I'm a huge fan of Masego, and I feel like Kehlani did her thing, of course, like vocally, and the message of the song is, I feel like, relatable to anybody in our age range specifically, or just this time. Like, I mean, and it's not just our age range, it could be a lot of different age ranges, but that idea of you not wanting to be somewhere, or you not really being your spot or your vibe, but you will literally solely be going to a place, like whether it be a party, a club, whatever the case may be, for the sole purpose of knowing that that other person gonna be there. And it's kind of like you go knowing they're gonna be there, hoping, like, knowing you don't want to do something, like knowing you don't want to be the first one to speak, or knowing you don't be the one to make a move or whatever. But ultimately feeling like if it came down to it, like, you're gonna do it because that's just how you feel, and ain't no reason for you to be there if you're not gonna do it. Like, everybody's had that thought or that kind of situation at least once, I would assume, so very relatable song. But outside of the content of it, Masego's fast. Like, I don't know. I'm a fan of Masego though, so it's just like the set, and especially in R&B and in hip hop in some cases, what he does is so unique. So it's like he has a specific sound, and that song is very like it's like when the beat come in, you immediately know that's Masego. Like, if it wasn't on there, you immediately know, like, that has to be, because who else is really playing the sax, and who else is giving that vibe? Like, he's the only one in my mind that's really, from an instrumentation standpoint, giving that kind of jazzy vibe consistently to R&B and hip hop. So I'd agree, definitely my favorite song for sure. Is it the best? I don't know yet. I'll talk about it when we get to the end, but it's my favorite for sure. It's top
the best. Yeah, the best and the favorite. That's definitely two different.
So
because as we go into the next track, Serial Lover, this one, to me, how you talked about one of the tracks that was like personal to you, Serial Lover was really this right here. This was it was me. It was like, oh shoot, Shorty talking to me, because it was just like she was just saying how she want to, like, basically give her last name, give her heart to multiple people and stuff like that. And I've been in a situation where it's just like, let's just say I've been in that situation, and I kind of sat back and reveled in it. Like, okay, it's cool to know that I know I'm not the only one that thinks like this, but it's cool to know, like, to hear a female standpoint, a woman's standpoint of talking about this, because typically if you hear a man talking about it,
I mean, I agree with you. I think it digs into a much deeper conversation, but I think it kind of goes into that idea that when you hear, the statement that, men are trash, men ain't shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we got to stop acting like it's not, women out here that feel the same way or do the same thing. And that's not always meaning that they're doing something wrong. It's it's I guess known or somewhat assumed that a lot of men have this, fear of commitment, or they, like multiple people at the same time, or don't want to settle down. But you got women that feel that way too. And it ain't about not caring about somebody all the time, as much as it could potentially be about, where you at in life. It could potentially be about maybe you just knowing that, hey, like, I'm not in the space, so I'm just not going to do that to people in terms of committing. And that don't mean you ain't going to make no mistakes. That don't mean you ain't going to F it up from time to time, but it's just a reality. Like, people ain't perfect, but often when it comes to this narrative, that's solely put on men. So it was very refreshing to hear her, especially, being somebody who, she's bisexual, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So especially somebody who, identifies as that can give us kind of a, yes, a different perspective, but it's kind of like you have to acknowledge that and to put that in the context of what she's saying. It makes it more refreshing because it's like, women think like this too. Women have this same dilemma. It just isn't, talked about as much, or it isn't kind of, I won't say publicized, but it isn't exaggerated as much.
It's not. Yeah, it's not a loud view. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying women wants to be perceived perfect, but to have a viewpoint like this in today's society is very like is kind of frowned upon. Like
and yeah, but like women are way more liberated now than they've been in the past. But I do see what you're saying with frowned upon though, because it's kind of like in a way it's almost like it's like it's kind of what's the word? It's kind of encouraged in a way because it's encouraged to have this idea that if a man can do it, a woman can do it, but almost as if like that's the sole reason that a woman should be able to do it. Because there are men that aren't like that or that have never been like that, but there are women who have always been like that just based on their past and their experiences. So, but it's just it kind of makes you, if you're listening intently like that, it makes you kind of okay, like that's, and you don't hear too many women. You don't hear a lot of women like the same way when we was talking about
in popular culture. You could say in popular culture.
The approach and the way she's describing it is women have talked about being liberated before, but for her to kind of make it, I feel like she made it extremely realistic. Like I feel like a lot of liberation that we see in music from women is not so much that's not realistic, but it's kind of exaggerated to match what men are saying and not from a woman's own perspective.
You can't have a double. I feel like when you listen to the track, you can't have a double standard with this particular thing that she's talking about. Yeah. And I think that was one of the kind of the messages that I took from this. Like, just like you just said, men can think like this. Why can't a woman? But don't look at it in the sense of, oh, she trying to be like us, or if we do it, you know what I'm saying, we frowned upon, and it shouldn't be that. This is the viewpoints of a grown woman who she loves what she loves. Just like you don't want anybody trying to dissuade your opinion of your beliefs or what you love and stuff like that. It's really one of them things where you got to take a step back as like from a society standpoint and just be like, all right, like I respect it.
Right.
Like, that's all you can do. You just I respect it.
So yeah, it's crazy because we don't have to get too deep into the lyrics, but just even the way she starts out kind of showing the lover side, but then, and a lot of people have that, and I don't want to stay on this song too much longer because we didn't give every other song this much time, but it's just that I think this is just one of them songs on the album that's so relatable. Like hey, like that's, and then we talk about her putting her foot on the pedal. Like at this point, like from Hate the Club, this is like. She just touching on everything that like you had to experience this because it's love, like it's love, it's emotion, it's even heartbreak, to an extent. So it's like everybody's felt that. So it's something that just makes it extremely relatable. And then the fact that musically it's still very sonically like in this, because it's got like a nice little like it ain't sad, like the beat in it sad. So it's like it's just like it's something you could ride to, like
you could definitely ride to this.
But it still got a message, so it's like okay, you make me think a little bit, all right, but yeah. So then the next song though, I don't know. This is an acronym for it. Is was
FME and you.
Oh yeah, I don't know what that.
I think it's definitely an acronym because it's I say it out of respect of fighting makeup. Yeah, fighting makeup. Or you can use the other term. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so
they both the same thing, and some sometimes.
Exactly. It was kind of self-explanatory. Right. Touching on the basis of a lot of relationships for today. We kind of believe that we get into it with our significant other, it's a fight, and then we come back and we make up through intercourse and believing things should be all good. But then when we out or we catch something, it's like, all right, we back at square one, we back into it. And then the same narrative keep going around, like, all right, we just gonna make up this way, we gonna be good. And then I'm sitting here waiting, when is something gonna pop off again?
Right. And I think it plays thematically because is that there are a lot of relationships that I won't there are a lot of relationships that have those kind of toxic qualities. And the hard part about toxic qualities is that you will hardly ever realize them or choose to accept them until, I won't say it's too late, but until like you've been through so much pain and you've been through so much hurt that you have no choice but to see it now, as opposed to, I won't say making a choice because that's tough, but as opposed to maybe seeing it earlier to avoid, some of that pain and hurt. And that's not something that's easy to do. But I mean, it's something, and again, thematically throughout this album, it's like everything is speaking to the idea of how difficult, relationships are. And it's crazy. And I'll get into more so that point at the end of the album. But it's just to even think of that 3-song stretch, it's just like, damn, like that's an analysis of a relationship in essence, if you think about it, and it's wild that she was able to do that. And I don't like saying that as if like other artists can't, because I'm sure there are artists that are capable of doing it. But I think, again, kind of from the standpoint of her specifically, I don't know if we really thought, not that she was capable, but that she would come with this. But then again, that might be based on experiences, so definitely can touch on that a little bit later. So Can You Blame Me with the Lucky Day feature. Side note, Lucky Day's been on I won't call it a tear per se, but his last few features he's done, I know for a fact he's done this.
On the street.
He's done on the street. He had the feature for Kehlani Lede as well. But all the features he's done recently has been fire. But I mean,
top 3 for you?
I don't know. More than likely not, from what I got in my head right now. It's one of them top 5 though. Not top 3, but top 5.
I think one thing that I really liked about not only this song is that it continued to follow the theme of what the album title speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? Each track really, it's not like, oh, why did she put this on there? Each track literally, I mean, it was good until it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, self-explanatory. And so when you get into the Lucky Day track, after coming off from Fight and Make Up, it's just like, you went from Fight and Make Up to talking about the actions of what you did. You know what I'm saying? Like, bravo.
Not bravo. But again, man, it's like,
it was.
Yeah, no, go ahead. My bad.
No, you good.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying, like, again, I think I don't know how often or how much people truly listen, like, to music, like, intently. And by that I mean, you not just like, I mean, you have certain artists who you might do this for, but with R&B, I feel like it's very important, and I mean, I feel like a lot of people do in general, but to listen to the lyrics, because especially in the R&B realm, the lyrics are everything from a standpoint of like, that's like, singing it can make it, feel a certain way and sound a certain way, but the words are what hit. And I'm not saying that doesn't go for rap. I just think R&B is a realm where that usually the subject matter is a little more, it's always more personal, more times than not, than you would hear in rap and, some other genre, because it stems from rhythm and blues. It stems from those very extremely personal, painful, that kind of genre. So it still plays to that. And in this song specifically, it's like, again, like foot on the gas. Like, if you have not been, I feel like a lot of people have been in situations where it's again being stuck in the middle. It's, it's like, I would rather argue than sleep alone. Like a line like that, like, literally so many people would rather be in an argument or, take something that they shouldn't take for the sole purpose of not being by themselves. And it's like, we could all sit here and say after the fact, in hindsight, that that's not smart or that's not healthy. But when you in the moment, when you dealing with somebody you care about, it's like that for man and woman. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but it's crazy that, again, she's putting all of this together for this project that's following the theme of the title of her project, and it's just you start to look at it like this is a sad ass love story that we are listening to. That's what it feels like, and I mean, it kind of gets more impressive with every listen, honestly. It's even getting more impressive as we're like breaking it down and like really, going through the tracks. But the next track, Grieving. First of all, her features have been spot on this entire project. I just want to point.
Yeah, she was very. These features was like, I really love the features that she chose.
Yeah,
it wasn't too many. Because a lot of artists, me personally, I don't like when a lot of people get a lot of features on their track.
yeah.
And it kind of, I wouldn't want to say it takes away the talent because that can never happen. But it kind of, to me, I feel like it dilutes the purpose of you putting out the message of what you're trying to put out for your own purpose with your album. And the people that she tapped for this, like James Blake, bro, for Grieving.
Hey. Pop too. Hit, slide like a mother.
All right, so what's your take from it? What you break down about it? Like, what did you take from the song?
It's like again from the placement in the album. It's like you go through all these emotions, and like you gonna have to grieve at some point. And if you kind of notice throughout all these emotions, she's not grieving. Like it's almost like she's if you were looking at it as somewhat of a love story or relationship, she's kind of just like she's doing that. Well, yeah, this was wrong, but I'm gonna go back. Or well, I was wrong, but I want you to take me back, kind of deal. But nobody's ever really dealing with the process, and so she's grieving. Then James Blake, he just, I mean, of course, like he did what he had to do on his part, but it's one of them things where I don't know. Like, I mean, I just read the first couple lines, like asking for space. I get my leg for it. I've reached a point. It's like I beg for it. I give my sweat and tears. Damn, I bled for it. No one would bet that you would lose me like that. Like, it's damn. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, and then to go from that, and now you dealt with all that, and now you want to be by yourself. Now you realize I need to figure this out. I need to grieve, do whatever I need to do. And then, but like in the midst of that, you still trying to figure out before you finally make that decision. Do I go back? Like, do I try to work it out? Like, do I just let it ride out? Like, because then you get to a certain point, and it's like, for certain decisions, there is no going back. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you got to figure all that stuff out. And then for James Blake to come in, I don't know. He did his thing. Like I said, all the features hit, but just to even fit. And it's like they also had a contrast of where they both were, which I like, because she started like that, and then he starts. I can understand how you would be attracted to me, an ashtray for your habits. And first of all, a line, an ashtray. Come on, brother. A moon to my sea, the juice to your squeeze, the stone I would keep. Like, and it's just I don't know. Like, I mean, the words are beautiful, of course, but it's again in the scope of the album, in the context of the album, it's very fitting after everything say she experienced, leading up to this point. Again, like it's kind of like we'll finish the album, then I'll get to that analogy. So then you get into Open, Passionate. This is definitely top 3.
Oh, top 3 for you.
This is definitely top 3.
What made it top 3?
Because this is arguably the most relatable song on the album. I'm not saying just to me. I think in general, because I think a lot of people can relate to Liquid Courage. I think a lot of people can relate to that, like, drinking having an effect on your decision making.
Yeah, I definitely.
Hey, brother, look, we done been there, brother. Hey, everybody has. It's cool. Gotta live and learn, brother. But so it's like, but you take it, and it's like, and I love that she acts from both perspectives. Like, what if you slip up? What if I slip up? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's and the thing is, I think the approach was and it's about being vulnerable and being open. But like sometimes it's about a slip up. Sometimes it's not like, and people use it as a cop out, but it's not always about an intention. Like sometimes it can be an honest mistake. It don't justify it. It don't mean you're not wrong, but it can be an honest mistake in that because your state was altered, you made a decision that you probably wouldn't naturally make. That you're gonna have to deal with personally, you may have to deal with in your particular relationship, but it's real, like it happens. And I like the fact that she's addressing a lot of these things that actually happen, and but she's been completely unbiased throughout the entire project, which I feel like could be difficult for an artist to do, because it's very easy to say like, this is my art, this is my story, and this is how I felt, and you can't really argue that. But I like the fact that she's
it's open-minded. It's a very open-minded album. It's not like the things that she's touching on is not just coming from a standpoint where she's speaking solely for women, because because of her sexuality, it's like she can take both perspectives and really talk on it. You know what I'm saying? And it draws in both genders to where it's just like you really don't got no choice to listen, because not only you getting a perspective from a woman, but you getting a perspective of what you could potentially think like, you know what I'm saying, when she's on that side of like, all right, I want to tap into my shooting game and being on what the guys be on, type stuff like that. And it's just like, all right, top three. I like the content of Passion Open. It probably would grow on me. It's definitely not a miss. If I had to, like, it's 15 tracks on here, so I definitely have to say it's probably top 5, but I wouldn't say top 3 for me personally. So,
I mean, I feel like the top 5s will more than likely, will be the same for us, but they just interchangeable with certain songs. I mean, that's, of course, that's fine. And then so Open, Passionate is the second to last song, and then she ends with Lexi's outro. And I mean, it depends on the people. People will have to know the story of I can't remember, like, what's her artist name. Like, I know it, but I can't think of what the artist name is. Is it Lexi Ja, or is it? She doesn't go by. I know she doesn't go by Alexis, so I don't know what the artist name is.
I believe. Let me see. We gotta get this right.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So Lexi Alaje. Is it?
I'm not sure how you pronounce it either.
Yeah. But bars.
Bars, and so of course, well, I shouldn't say of course. I don't know, for the listeners who all are aware, if y'all know of her as an artist, but unfortunately, she tragically passed earlier this year. And I mean, I've been aware of her for a few years now, actually. I want to say like 2016, 2017, I heard some stuff on SoundCloud and kind of been trying to keep up here and there. But I think it was, of course, and I'm not sure what the extent of their relationship was, but I do know they were close. I'm not sure if it was, romantic or not or anything like that, but I do, they were very close from what I've read. And like you said, bars. I mean, and she's always had those. Like she was an amazing artist. I mean, amazing lyricist to me. Like from the standpoint of somebody starting out, I feel like she had mountains of potential, and so to see her
21 too, man. Like it
was a lot that happened early in the year. A lot of deaths to like young women that were in the music industry and coming up in the music industry. So it was. Yeah, no, that was very sad. But I think it's a very fitting outro to the album, not only because of the relationship, but even still what she's saying still fits, everything that's going on. And it's just a fitting way to end what was already a very, very, complete album. So, don't want to harp on the tragic stuff too much, but I definitely just want to acknowledge that and RIP to her. But yeah, so that ends the project. 15 songs. I don't know, man. I mean, we kind of like said it in the beginning and said it throughout the album, but this is extremely complete, man. And there's not. I mean, you can say it depends on your mood. You know what I'm saying? Like for a lot of people, it's like that, but for me, I ain't never
just turn it on.
I've never played this album and skipped anything. Never felt
like I can really just like even with this morning. Like this morning I went in and reslid it and I had to slide it in a whip. And it was just like it's still like from when I first heard it. When I first heard it, and there wasn't no anticipation. So I'm like, I wasn't trying to get to a track. I just let it slide. Then coming back today, it was like, okay, it still slides. Because even when I'm sitting on social media and watching people talk about it, I'm not one of them people where it's like, man, y'all gassing. Nah, like the album is really, really like, so when y'all see people talking about it on social media, don't try to downplay it. The album is really, really like that.
It's one of them albums that it's not even an album that grows on you per se. Because I feel like for me, this was an album I liked immediately, but it still happened to get better every time I listen to it. Like every time I listen to it, it's still like it's almost like you catch something different, whether it be sonically or whether it be lyrically, and it's just like, oh damn, she was really talking.
Really talking.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's one of them things where like I mean I mentioned it in the interview with IMAX that like y'all will see later, but I do really feel like, especially as of right now, it's one of the top projects in general of the year, and I feel like when it comes down to it, at the end of the year, it's still gonna be one of the top projects. I would be I wouldn't be surprised because it's fuck the Grammys, but I think
always
fuck the Grammys, but I think that's a Grammy worthy album for sure, and it would suck if it wasn't nominated. I'll say that because I wouldn't be surprised, but it would be trash if it wasn't nominated for sure. But yeah, man. Also, so how much of the album do you think is like tied into the relationship with YG?
I don't want to beat on it too much, but I feel like once you get to but I feel like once you get to 8, like track 8, so I'm gonna say
that second half is pretty.
I'm gonna say probably like 65%, 65% of the album, because you got to think. And I was watching some of her interview. I didn't finish it all, but she was just like talking about her Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And they were trying to ask her how much of it was about YG, and she was like, I mean, it's songs on there you got to go listen to. And she was like, the entire album is not about her relationship, like, because she was like, her entire album is about everything that she's been just going through recently. So I don't want to
give credit.
I don't want to credit that much and be like, man, it's YG fault this album is so great. Like, nah, like it's a lot of different factors. So I'd say probably like 55, 60% of the album was about YG.
No, I definitely think that's fair. I think we can't not acknowledge that she's had, I mean, I won't call them trouble per se, but she's had, relationships before, the YG thing that, had their ups and downs and had their trouble. And so it could definitely be just as much inspired by that as it could have been, by YG. So I think, I wouldn't want to give an artist that much credit either. I mean, there are situations where it's clear that, another artist or another person was inspiration for the album. I don't think this is one of those cases. But I think, she was able to tap into some of those emotions, and that might have turned into a song or two. But like you said, I think in general, I mean, she's, who all knows outside of what we've seen, what she's been dealing with, in her personal life, and, how that may have inspired a lot of songs, on this album. But yeah, so I mean, if we grading this, what we giving it? Or what we doing?
If we're grading this, I'm giving it a 94. 94.
That's what we gotta get a rubric one of these days, bro. We gotta sit down and
it's a solid A tape.
Yeah,
it's a solid. The reason why I say that, just with the fact that it was a perfect length for a full length LP. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that me and you, we've been harping about on these past couple of episodes that we've been recording. The perfect track list would probably be like 14, 13 songs, and just to get 15 solid from 15 no skips.
Yeah, I mean, you got 2 skits, so you actually got 13 tracks.
13 tracks.
Then the outro is not you, so it's like, so you got 12. So 12 of them are yours. You know what I'm saying? And again, no miss. Like even if you took the skits out, I mean, the skits aren't really skips either because they flow. But if you took the skits out, it still flows and it still it still would be no skip. Like I genuinely, I don't have no problem saying it's a no skip album. I know everybody's ear is different. I know, people got their different preferences and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
If you are either a fan of Kehlani or if you are just a fan of good R&B and good music, you might have one of them days where you're not in the mood or whatever. But if you start this project from the beginning, it would be very like, people got different ears. I don't know. But like if I started from the beginning, I don't have a reason to skip. I can easily let it ride out. It's short too. To be 15 tracks is 40 minutes. She got a lot of, 2-minute tracks in there, but she did a good job of knowing which tracks she can just, kind of not play with, but she didn't need to give everything to. In the tracks she did need to give everything to in terms of length, in terms of more, more in her verse or whatever the case may be. So I mean, it's solid, man. I would give it a solid A as well. I feel like it's virtually flawless. I feel like it's a very strong word, but it's really hard for me to nitpick and really see I don't really see where there was something she could have done better, on this project. I don't really have anything, so especially after giving it a few listens and after seeing that for me personally, it's gotten better with each listen. There's not much I see that would, because to me, I guess like an A, like if I was to ever give a project like an A plus, like 100%, that would mean that it has everything musically and thematically to be great, but it also serves a bigger purpose. So when you think of albums that, when you think of albums like To Pimp a Butterfly or, something like that, that had a way bigger message outside of, sonically, being an advancing album as well. That's like kind of what would be in that tier for me, or like a My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy kind of deal, like one of those. But for this one, I feel like this is an 8 because from every other standpoint, it's, it hits, it's there. It just doesn't, it's not one of them albums, and it maybe wasn't meant to be, but it's not one of them albums that has this greater purpose or kind of spoke to this greater message. And was able to do so while keeping, the sonic themes and everything. So.
It was funny. It was to me, I looked at it as one of them albums where it was just like, it's a journal.
Yeah.
And she recorded everything that she kind of journaled and was feeling, and like it hit. She made sure that it was very put together. It wasn't just like, man, I'm gonna just throw this on there because at this point I was feeling like that. Like a lot of artists tend to do that when they're putting out their follow up to their debut. It's like for my full length, I was going through this, and this, and at this time I recorded this. So and there's nothing wrong with that. Like your art is your art by any means, but it wasn't like with this, I'm trying to make people to feel or think it was hurt. And I think that's what kind of made everything, because the person that she was, like you said, she was in the spotlight a lot. And like in her interview, she was talking about like, she's not that type of person. You know what I'm saying? She was like, that ain't me. Like I sing, I got my family, now. And she was just like, I'm a real laid back type of person. And so hearing her take on these different things with everything that's kind of happened around her definitely was good. Definitely was good.
Yeah, definitely. 2020 is continuing to be a great year for R&B. They're picking up right where they left off in 2019, in my personal opinion. So definitely continuously excited for where this will be going, just from an R&B standpoint and just from a sound standpoint in general. But yeah, that is the Interlude album review on Kehlani. It was good until it wasn't. If y'all haven't listened, go listen. Let us know what y'all think about our analysis. If y'all agree. Oh, we never said we never finalized our top 3.
Top 3, I can go. Top 3 for me: Hate the Club, Serial.
Or you just saying the 3?
Nah, I'm just saying them in 3.
Okay.
Hate the Club, Serial Killer, and I am going to have to go with.
Man said serial killer. A serial lover, y'all.
It's either between Can You Blame Me or Belong to the Street skit. I really like that Belong to the Street skit.
You do realize you said serial killer, right? I just want you to know that
I mean, serial lover. Hey,
brother.
hey, don't stone me out there.
Not stone me. But I would say Hate the Club is definitely in there. Hate the Club, serial lover, and Open. And then if I was gonna round out my top 5, it'll be Water and Grieving.
All right, I got a question for you. Personal question. From this album, do you believe that this kind of gave you some perspective, in or with, your relationships and stuff like that? Something that you can take towards it, or it was just you just looked at it as kind of like a vibe.
I would say it was more a vibe. I won't say there weren't things that I heard that I won't say couldn't be applied, but like it wasn't like I heard it and felt like this is what I'm experiencing, in my current relationship. And it wasn't like I heard it and felt like, oh, that's something I should, I don't know, avoid. Like it wasn't something that spoke to me directly from that standpoint. It was just more so it was more so about really my past than anything. It was like more so understanding that like certain songs she had, I was in that situation before, and being in it and acknowledging what it was for the time helped me be where I'm at now, in my current relationship. But in listening to it, it wasn't something that I felt directly tied to my relationship now. So it was more so a vibe in that sense. But it was very reflective though. So like I said, it was more so about my past and leading up to me becoming, who I am in this relationship than, currently being in it. But yeah, but yeah, man, also like that's pretty much the effect it had on my relationship. But yeah, so yeah, that's about it. But no, again, man, this is the Interlude album review of Kehlani. It was good until it wasn't.
Is there?
You know how we feel about it. You heard how we felt about the tracks, what our top tracks are. So tell us if you agree or disagree in the comments. Hit us both up on Twitter and let us know what you think. Do y'all agree it's a no skip album? Are we just, gassing it? Let us know. We love debating music with everybody anyway. So definitely hit us up. But, until next time, until our next episode, and until our next album review, peace.